Out there. All right, all right. All right, how's it going, everybody? What's going on, family? It's your boy, Agent Dynamite, Son the Living Legend, man. We are here today on our first episode of Boss Talk with one of my favorite segments, man. God had given me inspiration to be able to create a platform called Gentlemen Only, right? So, Gentlemen Only, this is our first segment. So, shout out to all my kings that's on here right now. We appreciate you, gentlemen, being on. Man, guys, we are all over the world right now. I see the viewers chiming in. Man, I'm so excited for this call. Man, listen, when we put this out here, man, we had over 25 to 30 brothers that volunteered to come be a part of this great segment, and I'm just honored to be able to serve with you guys on on such a call, which I feel like is a very important topic that need to be discussed. Is coming from men, right? How men view things, how men understand things. And so this panel, guys, is just for us to be able to talk. It's a safe space for men just to be able to open up and have an open dialogue, right? To be able to address a couple of topics that affect us from a man's point of view. So, gentlemen only men's panel is because the brothers got the mic. So the brothers got the mic. So can't no sisters hop on here and take the mic from the brothers. So sisters, I want y'all to sit back and relax and just listen for a moment, right? And just chime in. So guys, on your platforms, real quick, if you could share it from your different Facebook pages, let's get the audience up. Let's get it, people really engaged, and let's be in a position where our people can really learn, right? Go to the YouTube, have people go to subscribe to Dynamite Zone on YouTube, because we want our people to get the good content. Because I really feel like this is going to be something that's going to heal the soul, y'all. Like I really feel like it's going to be a good healing space for us to be able to heal ourselves as men as we do with others. So again, the whole purpose of this platform is to give us an opportunity just to have a men's conversation about topic that's affecting us. It's been said that men have one of the loudest voices that's never been heard. It's because most men hold stuff on the inside. Yeah, you guys agree with that?
I agree with you
Yeah.
100%.
You agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
It said men have a loud voice, but it's not heard, right? Because from a man perspective, like we go through different things in life, but we internalize, a lot, right? Because we were taught to be men, we got to be strong, we got to stay focused. You can't show vulnerability, you can't show weakness. My father was a Golden Glove boxer. You know what I'm saying? My stepdad was too. So it was like, boy, stop crying. Like, don't cry. Like we got taught not to cry. You know what I'm saying? We got taught not to express. We got taught to really hold it in, and if you show any level of emotion towards a situation, it was like, man, you ain't tough, man. Stop acting like a punk, man. What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, and we
Right.
got brainwashed in such a degree that we actually got, programmed not to express. You guys agree with that? Like we
I
just kind of
Yeah.
do. So
Yeah, I
not
agree with
only
that.
not only we couldn't cry, if they told you more than once, you were like, bam, they hit you in the chest, they slap you in the gut. So you didn't know which way it was coming from. So I know how it is to live in a boxing arena. I live in Ohio, and boxing, that's what we did. So I don't care what happened to you. Get up off the ground, wipe your face, spit that blood out your mouth, and go to your corner, and let's keep moving. So I hear you, Mr. Salone. I hear you.
yeah, and that's just our nature, man. So and it's immediate in there, right? But it takes some time and some maturity till we grow to learn that expression is natural. Like we human beings, right? You're supposed to express. Like we human, so we have feelings, right? You learn how to feel what you feel and verbalize it in such a way that you can get it out. I was in the store today. I was at the DMV rather than I'm sitting there working on some stuff with my license, and I seen a brother come in. He was just irate. The sister said something to him. He was and I was like, whew, And then the lady went back into the side. She had to handle her job, and he was just. Then he got to the counter. He calmed down, and you know what I mean. And he was like laughing and joking. Then when it didn't go his way again, he was And I looked at this dude. I said, man, he got to be at least 45. And I watched a grown man act like a grown child.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I
Yeah.
watched a 45-year-old man look like a child having a temper tantrum. You know what I'm saying? Because he was not able to have enough emotional regulation to understand how to have a conversation, how to listen. You know what I'm saying? Move through. And even though he was frustrated about his paperwork, just listen, be respectful, respond, and move forward.
Right.
So this gentleman at 45 years old has not matured enough to understand how to express himself and channel his emotion. And then you get the cursing and he's being irate, and like we in a public area, and I'm looking at this guy like, oh my God. I'm sure this man has children and he's acting like a child. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so I feel like, growing up young, when we learn not to express, you know what I'm saying? We talk, don't express your emotions, right? And then as you get older, you start having these emotional feelings, and then you don't know
Out, yeah.
how to channel them. I mean, it could be some bad programming, man. It could be some bad programming on a lot of guys, man. What you guys think?
I think a lot of time it's about the environment, Mrs. Salon, Mr. Benjamin, Miss Ness. All of us are a part of a different environment, and that environment shapes us. So we're like clay, okay, and the environment has shaped us. Okay, I understand completely what you said. I was just washing my car a couple of days ago, and here I am. I see a mother pulls up, and she has her son with them, and I'm looking at how the son is dressed, and I'm looking at how his attire is fitting on him, and I'm drying off my wife's car, and I'm literally fighting myself not to say something to him, but I'm saying that first of all, if it's a woman washing a car, it may not be a man in her life. If there's no man in her life, that's probably why the young man is dressed the way he's dressed.
Great
So
point.
as I began to finish wiping off my wife's car, I walked over there to her and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am." I said, "Can I say something to your son, man to man?" And she said, "Sure." I said, "Young man," I said, "I hope this is a fashion thing that you're doing, because I have seen individuals lose internship positions and jobs because of their fashion." I said, "You have to step up to the plate and present yourself no matter where you are." And I told her, I said, "This is where they get you at. They have something called a casual evening when they're only doing a second layer of evaluation." But
Ooh.
this what really got me right here is when I told her, I said, "Ma'am, thank you." She said, "No, thank you." No one had the conversation with him on the level of saying, "Hey, you can't dress like this." He didn't know me. She didn't know me. But guess what he saw? He saw a brand new Mercedes Benz. He seen a well, nice dressed young man out here washing a car that took enough time out to walk over there and ask his mother for permission.
Mm.
So I salute her for saying, yeah, she didn't say what. She didn't say why. She didn't get irate. She had a man in her presence that she was trying to determine, well, I wonder what he's going to say. Let me just see what he's going to say. And I was polite. I was respectful. And when I left, she smiled at me and said, "Thank you."
Mm.
Very good, man. Very good. Playing that role, yeah. So, thank you for that. And, also, man, just really grateful to be in this conversation and the dialogue. And as it relates to the idea of, mental health, and we're looking at the word, just to really, I guess, break down and just piggyback on what you spoke about where the environment is concerned and how that helps to shape us. Because the word mentality has a bunch of words in there. Mentality begins with me, then men, then mental, and then tality, which is the great reality of our life, in its movement. So when we really look at the mental constructs that we end up with, you're right. All of us are born into this world, and as soon as we get out of the womb, then the words and the things that are spoken to us start to help to shape the way we're going to think. So we get born into an existing environment, and it literally colors our subconscious mind. And then later on, that subconscious mind spits off the way we think, the way we perceive, the way we look at life. So when somebody is behaving the way in which the gentleman behaves, he's just totally unaware of what it is that he's really doing. And there's steps that I've learned to grow through and develop through. And one thing I like talking about is the healing process. Is the outcome. Is how we're gonna really affect individuals who are coming to listen to this conversation. And I was putting some thought into it, and I remember the statement that came from a gentleman called Ernest Holmes. He said that there's nothing to be healed, there's just something to be revealed. And each and every one of us already have. None of us have mental illness. It's just that we have a body that's not allowing the perfect inner being to properly express itself. So the issue is how to get that right alignment so that the perfect being that we are on the inside can express itself on the outside. So mental to look at the idea of how people are going to behave and how they're behaving, and men coming to this conversation, really in terms of just being able to add value. And, that's where I want to see how I can be in this conversation and really see how we can really add some value, because yes, we do have more issues in the world than tissues. I think that if we were to list, if Adrian and King, if we were to list each of us were to list our issues, we'd be here like forever. We couldn't get off the channel.
Yo, you gotta go back, man. Dr. Benjamin, I hate to cut you, man, but go back, man. Man, you broke down mentality. You broke down mentality. Like, come on, bro. We can't just fly by that. Like, we just can't fly by that by opinion on the side. Well, you gotta understand, like, Dr. Benjamin is a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Benjamin, this is his specialty. So when we talk about mentality, Dr. Benjamin, I got my pen and pad, right? I want you to go back and give us again that breakdown of mental health, mentality, men. Like, give me that one more time. Just give me a rewind, right? Let's go back. Break that down one more time.
All right, thank you for asking that. So, mentality, all of us have one. And it begins with me. So it starts with Harry first. But what influences me is men, the men that I surround myself with. And then that starts to color the way I end up thinking, because of show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And then that becomes our mental construct from which we think. So when someone is misbehaving, they're misbehaving more so based on the examples they saw growing up, the people that are around them, and that is what's influencing them. And then mentality, that last word, right? The great reality, free in its movement. That's the word tality. The great reality, free in its movement. So each and every one of us are free to move around within the mental constructs that have been cultivated and in some ways inherited. So the process is, renewal of the mind, getting into that space, renewing the mind to transform the life, because that's how the life changes, is to understand that the mental constructs have to be renewed, because we inherited stuff that we didn't even know we were inheriting. Stuff was spoken to us when we were children that we didn't even know we were supposed to reject and not allow it to actually become a part of the way we think and the way we look at life.
Man, that's so true. It's just a product of your environment. Like, you're going to move how you saw men move in your circle. You know what I'm saying? We grew up, and I don't know about y'all neighborhood, but in my neighborhood as a man, the more women you had, the more of a man you was. I don't know about y'all, but it was like the more women you had, it was like it was more check marks. It was a trophy, but that's what men did, right? It was just like, it was like the more touchdowns you had. Your dad said, score more touchdowns, you score more touchdowns, right? I seen men who were just like, they made money and then they dressed nice, and that's what I saw. I saw my dad come up with Dobbs hats, Stetson shoes. Like, I saw that. So I learned how to dress watching my father wear a blazer on a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would ask some of these young cats today, what's a hat box? They'll try to show you like a snapback or a fitted or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't even know what a hat box is. They can go look in the closet and they be like, is that a storage container? Like, what you supposed to do with this? Like, my dad had stacks of hat boxes. So if you go in my closet today, great point. To your point, I got hat boxes. You know what I'm saying? Like, blazers, jackets, shoot. I saw men do that. So at 17, 18, 19, 20, I started wearing blazers and slacks and Stetsons. I wanted my first car to be a Cadillac. Why? Or a Lincoln. Because I seen my dad drive a Cadillac and my uncle drove a Lincoln, right? So the environment around what we was in allowed my mentality to think, this is how men act. This is what men do, right? Until you started getting into some maturity of it. It's like, okay, having more women don't make you more of a man. That was wrong. That was misled, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, dressing nice is good, right? This is a framework, but let me teach you some things, young man, on how to actually put that together, right? And make sure, we can go into space. So let me ask y'all a question, man. How do y'all feel like mental health, right? And the way society grades you as a man, how does that affect your mentality, right? How society grades you as a man, or the standard of what society says is a man, how did that affect you? What kind of pressure do you feel like that put on y'all as men in today's society?
Well, hey guys, man, thank you for allowing me to be on this panel. I'm very grateful for this, and this is very needed for our, our society now, which is our young men, right here in our either in our country or even in our cultures. But man, as growing up as a man, you know, I was raised in the church, right, and a father was a pastor, right, but it wasn't right. It wasn't, how should I put this? It wasn't always fine, right? It wasn't always a green pasture, right? It was always, you know, father was out doing his thing, right, with the church, right, and you know, traveling a lot. So I became a product of my environment. What was my environment? My environment I caught at school, right? In society, where I grew up at. So I grew up in California, right, on the streets, and although I was connected to a church, but my environment that I was in outside of church was influencing me of my perspective of what a man is, right? So I began to look at the gang life, right, and that wasn't and that wasn't the right thing to do, right? That's not the right, but it was the society I was in, right? So
Absolutely.
it was what was being portrayed to me, what was being visual to me, right? So I think with that in mind, right, with that environment, it shaped me as a man growing up, right? It shaped me as a man growing up. But the beautiful thing about mentality, right, is it can transform,
That's
right?
true.
It can transform. So being the product of your environment, environments can change as well, right? Environments can
Mhm.
change as well. So it's us being able to put our egos aside sometimes, right? Well, most of the times is putting our egos aside and finding that place where you could be cultivated, right? And because growing up, I didn't want to listen to another man. That was just part of that society is you wanted to be your own man. You wanted to be masculine, right? You wanted nobody touch you, right? And all that mentality of being a man, being a tough man.
Hmm.
But man, boy was I wrong. Boy was I wrong. Man, I had the whole thing wired the wrong way, right? And it was only till I was able to humble myself,
Hmm.
right? Because of this thing where we have as a man growing up being so tough, we did not allow certain people to speak into us,
That's true.
right? We did not allow certain people. I wouldn't even hug anybody, right? That was like not masculine, right? If you hug somebody, it's like, oh my gosh, you're this. But when you learn just to embrace another man, man, bro, I love you. And
That's
just saying those words, man, it changes something in you. When you could tell another man, bro, I miss you and I love you, bro. I see you, man. And that just does something to you, right? It does something to you. And allowing that to change your mindset, allowing that to change your environment, I think that's what's lacking in a lot of men today, right?
bro.
It's not being able, right?
I agree with you, bro. Nelson, with that, what you just said, it struck a chord in me, bro. I tell my son all the time, like, you got to learn men love.
Mm, yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? You got to learn men love, right? So, again, going back to my story, well, both of my fathers going up boxing, so I grew up aggressive. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in neighborhood where the kingpin was my next door neighbor. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up seeing a certain level of caliber of men that was no nonsense. You know what I'm saying? One piece of disrespect and the whole situation would turn quickly. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so growing up with that level of mindset, when I go to school, I'm aggressive. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to folk, I'm aggressive. You see what I'm saying? And you develop that. But being with my dad, I learned that the level of love my father gave me, no matter what age I was, made me feel like a child. You know what I'm saying? The level of respect that my father gave me, bro, when my father would hug me and to get that strong embrace from my dad,
Mm.
bro, it was like I would melt. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like all the cares of the world would leave me. And just that word, I love you, Pop. Everybody else, I'm like, nah, bro, like it's on sight. You know what I'm saying? But my dad, it's like, man, I love you. So when my dad died, bro, that was probably like one of the toughest moments in my life. You know what I'm saying? Is to have that man leave, because I learned men love. And so when you said that, when you say, man, I could tell a brother I love him. You know what I'm saying? I feel that. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, that hit my core. When I tell you, I said, Ness, I love you, man. Good to see you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because I genuinely love you. Like, I genuinely have a respect for you as a man and who you stand for and who you are to your family and your community. I respect the caliber of man you are. So I embrace that. But guess what? It don't make me soft. You feel what I'm saying? I don't lose no respect for myself. I'm not disrespected in my neighborhood or in my community because I could tell a man I love him. I had to teach that to my son. Like, it's okay to love a man. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a sexuality situation if you tell a man you love him. Like, it's just bad programming. You see what I'm saying? But
Yes.
it has to be taught and it has to be said. And one of the biggest things I feel like it helped my son see that, to go from the tough side, because my dad are like, he'll box you up real quick. You know what I'm saying? But then when he comes and say, boy, come here, and he'll hug you, say, give you a kiss. And we bored. We like, come on, man, chill out, man. Like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? But that love and embracement, I do it to my boys today. My son about to be 18, and I still walk. I love you, boy. He's like, all right, pops, come on, man, because I want him to know just what you just said. Men love.
So check this out. So I'm in ministry. A lot of folks don't know that. Okay, not unless they've been in my circle. My kids know where I'm at. They can look at the watch and they know where I'm at. Dad is either at church. He's either from 7 to 9. So from 7 to 9, can't call him because I know he's on prayer from 7 to 9. And they know they can't call me at nighttime from 7 to 9 because I'm in prayer. You with me? But one of the things that my kids know is this right here. I hug and kiss everybody. And Dr. Benjamin, you'll be a good echo for me. My wife from Jamaica, her family does not deal with the word that I love you. So when I pulled up in the cab in Arnett Gardens on Concrete Jungle, my wife stopped everything. She said, "Hey, look, this is Grace. He loves everybody. When he started kissing you, trust me, it ain't the last kiss." You with me? And being in ministry, you know, you can sometimes you can catch folks off guard. Hey, I love you, man. So, but when they hear it kind of repetition, they're like, oh, they're watching. Say, oh, that's how he is with everybody. I tell everybody, if I love you, I'm gonna tell you I love you. There's only 2 levels in our relationship. I either love you or I don't know what you are to me at this time. Because I want to love everybody, but sometimes you gotta be mindful of how someone's gonna receive it. You with me? Because a lot of times individuals just can't handle the fact that another man saying he loves you. You know, grown men that's in my church, they know this right from the beginning. Grace will kiss you on your forehead in a minute. I love them. I love them. When I have prayer with my seniors and my mothers, I tell them, I say, give dad a kiss on his forehead. He knows what's wrong. When I see him in the street, I said, Dad, did mom give you a kiss? She said, yeah, sometimes I let her give it to me, but they understand. They understand what level it's coming from because they came from an era that they didn't have that affection. And then let me give you something real.
That's true.
The level of our parents, especially our men, we only saw one level of our men. My dad was a man, when he said something, he meant it. Didn't nobody question him. Mom would look at us and say, hey, look. And she wouldn't say it would be one of the subliminal things. She'd be like, your dad done spoke. You know, nobody would say anything. Everybody would look at their plate and they would eat. So I grew up thinking that this is what it was. So when I got into a marriage, I said, hey, I'm done with it. I'm through with it. I had been taught that. But what I didn't realize is I didn't know what was taking place behind the door. Absolutely. When my dad went to bed, he went to his wife and said, baby, I'm sorry. Baby, I love you. If I had known that aspect, heck, I would have stayed married longer the first time. Because when I said something, that's what I meant. So some of us men, we got to relearn some things, you know. And then I try to tell my daughter, I said, you are without excuse. You know what a healthy relationship look like. When your girlfriend start telling you this ain't what marriage is supposed to be, you ain't never seen a healthy relationship. You ain't never grew up with a man before. But you're going to tell me this is not how a marriage is supposed to be. A marriage is a cake. I give you a cake box. I give you some eggs. I give you some oil. I give you some milk. Now I give you the directions. You make what you want. You take eggs out if you want to, something's going to go wrong. You don't put butter in it, and sometimes it ain't going to be the same. Every day we wake up, we are standing at the counter, starting a new ingredients of love.
Speak it, yes.
I'm loving you, and you, because women will do this to you. Women tell you, say, baby, it ain't love just at nighttime, and it's all throughout the day. You're right. You gotta love them throughout the day, because guess what? When that time comes, look here, I got a big appetite. I don't want no turkey, I don't want no cheese. I'm just telling you.
Don't play with me.
Don't play with me, girl. You don't want your man to leave home hungry.
Come on, man.
They're making a mistake. They're making a mistake. Even a Christian man, what that very thing that they're struggling to hold on to because of their faith, it can be fixed at home.
That's right.
Feed that man what he needs before he leaves home.
Come on, man.
If you don't, then they're going to struggle throughout the day until they get back home. And then guess what they're thinking? They're sitting in the back of the room wondering, is the night another night I'm going to be rejected? Mm-hmm. Men don't want to talk about being rejected.
Come on.
Yeah.
I think that's one of our hardest struggles.
Pastor.
Hold on,
to the conversation.
Hold on, I got some offering over here for Brother Grace. Let me go ahead and drop some of my offering over here.
Get the plate.
But that's real though. That love and that example, man. You know, like you say, man, your father put his foot down, but you ain't know it was another level of it. You know what I'm saying? Again, going back to mentality. What did you see? You saw half the story. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't see how he kept his family together, which is when he went back and he talked to his wife. So that makes us that have men, us men who have children, who got boys, that's a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like that's the solution that comes with that, right? We got to have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Of how to talk to everyone. And I've seen my mom would be here to slap him side the head, but I seen him come all the way down to a church mouse and be able to catch her right there. And now we got to do a better job of teaching. And Dr. Benjamin, you got some in you, man. I can see you brewing. Go ahead, Doctor. You lean.
No. Yeah. You know, it's like
Dr. Benjamin got a wife and some girls. I know you got to say so. Come on, Benjamin.
I got 2 girls, got a boy, and I, you know, I've been married now 23 years. So you know, to stay married is no joke, bro. So it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's, you know, it's a journey. So you know, so as I was listening to the dialogue, you know, and just really just absorbing it and, you know, benefiting greatly, one of the things that came up and just kept popping up in my mind is just to remind, you know, so because here's the thing, you know, all of us growing up with this idea of being tough and being men and, you know, all of that happens in terms of our example. Most of us don't remember that we are created in the image and likeness of love. So the foundation of our being is love. You know, we can't escape being lovers. And as a result, if we don't really mature, and individuals do not mature where we express that love, we're not in congruence with the natural order of how we are. Because we are love in the core and center of every one of us. And if we don't express that love, what happens is that it's almost like we have this dam inside that's at some points just get breached. And that's why, you know, some people are a little bunch of stuff, because we need to release. We need to continue to express. We need to hug. We need to hold. We need to, you know, be able to relate to one another in ways that allow us to express ourselves. Mm-hmm. But because the conditioning before now did not really include that. So growing up, most of us didn't learn that as a way to live. So we are coming into that awareness at this stage. So we have to set that new example, you know, and the more of us that demonstrate these examples of being loving and being gentle and being, you know, kind, because gentleness is really where strength is. Mm-hmm. That's where strength is. When you can have a tough situation and a hard conversation, and inside of it, you can still be gentle. Then that's strength, because it takes strength to be gentle in a difficult situation where somebody's trying to you know, say some. I think the other day, Mr. Sloan, you know, where somebody just like came at you from the left side, and you just had to just reach for that gentleness to be able to not get into this rah, 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 rah.
Brother, that took something out of my deeper being. You know what I'm saying? To pull that out. I got 5 guys surrounding me. I'm like, oh, come on, man. I know how I've been trained. But wisdom had to kick in, man. And that's what it was. But you right. We have created. That was great. I wrote that down. Created in love. You know what I'm saying? And that's our truth. And to your point with that, I remember watching the documentary, right? And was talking about Jackie Robinson. He was talking about some stuff that he went through, and he was talking about a lot of things that he went through playing baseball and playing with different white athletes and how he was treated and things of that nature, right? And he was fighting all the time, defending himself. And he got to a point where he stopped. You know what I'm saying? And so one of the announcers had asked him a question that said, Jackie, how do you feel like being in an arena that you always got to fight and you're getting cleated and you getting beat on and stuff like that? And he said, I learned the greatest strength was for me not to fight than to fight. And as a young man, when I heard that was like and I'm watching a movie, but just I could relate to that in life. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you get to certain points that your inner strength is when you don't lash, when you don't get aggressive, when you can see the foolishness, you know what I'm saying? And you don't respond, because some people do things to provoke you, you know what I'm saying? To pull something out of you because you're not paying them no attention. So they want to provoke you to make you respond to get the attention. But now people only see how you responded, but they don't see the provokedness. But now you look crazy. You know what I'm saying? You look the foolish one, right? And so that was a jewel of life for me as a young man coming up, to understand like society had groomed us, right, to be aggressive and be direct, you know what I'm saying? But your biggest strength is when you learn how to channel that emotion and you don't feed into it, then you start playing this game. And this is why I really feel like cracking a lot of these shells that we have, with these, emotional regulation issues we have, and these environment issues that we have, that we grew up in societies that we didn't see good communication. Right, we didn't get to see a lot of good, clean communication of problem solving. Would y'all agree with that? We didn't see a lot of problem solving. We see stuff happen, but we didn't really see people handle it. As you mature, you start, personal development getting and becomes a big thing. And them 6 inches between your eyes become your strongest muscle. If you can outthink a person, outthink a situation, you're stronger. Mm-hmm. Because you look at it, a person only know how to respond emotionally. They just going off their physical. But they're not even thinking about the consequences. They're not thinking about the situation they could put themselves in. They just physically, they have an emotional issue. But if you can feel it and don't respond, I feel like you're the stronger one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is that is really emotional maturity right there, because emotions, all of us are going to have them. And when somebody sticks you, say something to you, or does something that you don't like, and especially when you're in close relationships, that's when something will bring up that emotional response. The emotional response is the byproduct of somebody saying something. Somebody says something, you're going to feel an emotion because it starts in our mind. Now, when we become mature enough, we can feel the emotion and not express the emotion. Mm-hmm. And it's not to suppress it, because suppressing it doesn't work. If you suppress and repress it, it's going to actually just result in a big blow up later on if you keep holding it in. But we need to feel the emotion and allow ourselves to feel the emotion while maturing to where we're thinking beyond the emotion. So we're thinking outside of the feeling. It's almost like the Matrix. You could stand up and watch yourself, over there, and you're watching yourself move and feel, but you're not acting from it. You're allowing that process to take place. And then while that process is taking place, it allows you to think independent of the emotion that you're experiencing. But the thing is that takes a lot of personal development. It takes a lot of work before an individual can mature to where they can literally even understand what we say, what's being said. Or we say, oh, you feel something and you're thinking so it sounds all philosophical and these guys are here until you've gotten into that space and you matured into that space and you say, now I got what these guys are talking about. now I understand what they're relating to. So I know some of us may be listening, and you know, you might feel like you want to even tune out of the dialogue there because, man, you know, what are you talking about? I mean, you know, you did this to me, you did that to me. I feel it. I could feel it. You know, you can't tell me how I'm supposed to feel, and you know, that type of thing. And you know, when we speak from that level, that's fine. That's you know, that's where we are maybe for now. But we really need to mature into that place. And you know, as we'll go ahead and dive deeper into this. But yeah, you know, you're right on point, man. Right on point. I'll hand it back to you.
So those emotions are key. And Dr. Benjamin, you're right, because the maturity piece is attached to it. My son has grew into it, but he's always made poor decisions. Okay. He's always made emotional decisions. Okay. And he lives in Denver. Okay. In Denver, he's been there for a while. So my wife was concerned about him staying in Denver. Okay. So I would call him and say, hey, son, this is what I want you to do. I would have that talk with him. You know, I said, if you get pulled over, I said, regardless of if you're right or wrong, all I want you to do is just be quiet. If you gotta say something, say it when you locked up. When they already took you back and they unlocked you up, then that's when you say it. You know, but let me tell you how much the maturity it had to grow to. When things really got hot, he called me and said, Dad, he said, I only got one question. I said, what's that, son? Do you got me? And I said, yeah, I got you, son. He said, no, I just want to know, do you got me no matter what? Now, unless you really understand how we grew up, meaning that I'm going to revenge what has happened to you. You know, we don't give a person the opportunity to receive justice. That's not the way we grew up. If you cut me, I shoot you. I just got to be real. Okay. And my son just wanted to know. He just wanted to know this right here. I just want to know if something happened to me, I can close my eyes knowing that it ain't over. I just want to know that you got me, Dad. And he would not get off the phone until I said, I got him. I understood what he meant. And that's the thing that we have to get our children to. And then even some of our brothers and our sisters, sometimes we just got to be quiet. Be quiet. Just be quiet.
Yo, I really feel like you say the most sometimes when you're going through different things when you don't speak. You know, silence says a lot. You know,
as you touch on silence, you know, and for the purposes of our conversation, because you know, I love calling you Mr. Sloan, but I want to, you know, just relax with you a bit and say Adrian today, right?
Let's go. We in the locker room, men talk. Let's go.
Yeah. So you know, because the thing about silence, right? The word silent, silent, if we shuffle it, we get listen, right? We shuffle the word silent, we get listen. So what needs to happen for each and every one of us is to mature to the point where we can start to really hear that inner small voice that whispers to us, you know, in terms of giving us the right guidance and moving us along, because that's ultimately where I believe healing comes from. You know, healing is an inside out deal. It's not, you know, something to be taken from outside in. It's really where we get that inner alignment so right that the natural, beautiful beings that we are already begins to express itself. So, you know, as I saw that whole idea of mental health, you know, spirit, mind, and body. So what happens is that the spirit is a perfect creation. Nothing can ever harm it. Nothing can be wrong with it. But then the mind gets conditioned as we're moving through life. And, you know, that conditioning is what comes out of alignment with the spirit. And as a result, there's an expression of nonsense, insanity, you know, somebody, you know, doing crazy stuff in their community. It's all because of the conditioning that they may have received and blows that they may have gotten during the process of growing up, and then it created some reactions within them that resulted in them doing some stuff in the world that's really just coming from a sense of insanity, because they were not connected from the original, from day one, from the truth and the natural, beautiful nature of our being. So, you know, in the process of silence, as you go back to that word, you know, being in the silence is the key factor for our healing. You know, and I've learned it. You know, we're spinning our wheels, spinning our wheels until we get to that place where we individually take time out to do what's called silent meditation, get that inner connection going, become aware of the true nature of our being, and then let all the false stuff and the accidental stuff that we pick up along the way, let that stuff start to fall away. And then the beauty of our being starts to shine, and it shines through our uniqueness. You know, there is a way that Adrian just flows that nobody else can flow, no matter how you try. Right? And the same thing with King, and the same thing with you, Pastor. You know, so we have that in us. And, you know, we have not had enough conversation, I believe, about silent meditation and the healing that provides, because it's like a natural spa that we immerse ourselves in and allow ourselves to connect with the beautiful aspect of our being. And it kind of just flows down into all other areas of our lives once we get that connection right. So I've benefited tremendously from it, and I have individuals who I've seen go through the process of, you know, growing in that area. And that's a practice that is not spoken about enough. You know, individuals, I seek to guide my family and lead my family in that direction. And I'm not talking about prayer. I'm talking about taking time on an individual level to get silent, be still, go within, allow things to calm down, and allow ourselves to connect with the beauty that's already in us, that's inherently in us. And when, man, that starts to happen, man, no inner conflict, no war in the world. No inner conflict, no war in the world.
I got 200 on Dr. B right now.
I got 400 on
Dr.
him.
B. Wait a second. You got Cash App, Zelle, Visa, MasterCard.
Awesome.
You got a merchant account over there somewhere. Silent and listen.
Didn't I tell you that sloan is unique?
I got a sermon. I got a sermon.
Silent and listen. You know, this man got a whole book on acronyms. He can take a word and go backwards and forward like nobody else. Y'all got to get Dr. Benjamin book. Let me plug Dr. Benjamin book. Get his book, man. He got a dope book. Yo, listen. But yo, it's so real, man. Man, I love this call, man. I love this call already. We doing this every Wednesday, y'all. Move for. We doing this every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, same channel, same station. We're gonna keep this deal rocking because we got so many topics, right, that we want to cover. We're not gonna, like I told the gentleman, like, we're not gonna rush through a topic, right? Let's have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
This our problem now. We rush too much. You know what I'm saying? I can say I rush too much, right? Maybe y'all feel the same way, but we can go through stuff and we just off to the next thing.
Yeah,
we got to take time to slow down and really process it. You know what I'm saying? And going back to you were saying, Dr. Benjamin, with silence, bro, like, I'm at my best when I spend some time to myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm at my very best. Like, I create better. I think better. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's what A Game stand up there. That my brand, I created that brand in 2016, 17. And A Game, I was my name, first name Adrian, kind of a spinoff from sports, right? A Game, focus forward. Is that through all life's distractions, learn to focus forward. You know, the players never listen to the noise in the stands. That was like my self-talk. These are like my affirmations, right? That I used to go to schools and I would teach this to youth on how to accomplish their goals and their dreams by applying a A game in life. You know what I'm saying? You could bring your A game in sports, but you got to bring your A game in life. And this is what I found out, gentlemen. I felt like when I brought the lower level of me, because we all got a higher self and the lower self, right? And so when I brought my higher self, was my A game, I was hard to beat. You know what I'm saying? But I'm focused. I'm centered. My lower level self, I'm distracted. I'm all over the place, and I could lose any day. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm really not myself. And as an adult, as I grow into a man, I really learned that was a part of who I am. I need silence. I need one-on-one time with me. You know what I'm saying? Do you realize, like, a lion to lead through the jungle, right? But he spends so much time to himself. Like, he spent so much time to himself, right? He the king of the jungle, right? We see him, he masculine, he big, he can lead, he can direct. But do you realize, like, a lion is a leader and a loner at the same time? You know what I'm saying? And so when you look at the lion, right, we can go through the tribe of Judah, we can go deep on this call, we can go all the way over there, right? But if you look at the natural anatomy of one of the most ferocious animals in this world, that's the most highly respected animals on the food chain, just like a man, right? It's the hierarchy of a household, just like a man. Let's stay on topic right there, right? We're just like a man, the most respected, big character, big spirit. But that lion spends so much time in solitude. And then when he come back to the pack, he know how to lead them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I really feel like that's what we all got to do as men, right? We got to get into them places where you comfortable by yourself. I really feel like as a man, it's childish if you feel like you got to be around people all the time. I personally feel that way. I feel like if you always got to be around people, I feel like it's childish for a man if you need to be in places where you always got to get your ego stroked or you need some self-esteem. And like, I really feel like a man has a very bad self-esteem issue if he needs his ego stroked all the time, if you need to be told how great you are all the time, and you just don't feel comfortable by yourself, bro. Like, what's wrong with you? You gotta go hang out with people all the time, right? Spend that solo time, right? Because I found the best leaders aloners, because you can hear your own thoughts. The more time you spend to yourself, you get in your most purest thought, because it's you. It's what spirit is giving you. Like what spirit is giving you is what you're gonna have here.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you begin to speak, right, you can go to another level. And that's why, like, when I go to train or speak, I'm never nervous. You follow me? Because 99% of the time I'm by myself, right? So when I speak, I'm coming from a clarity of the being of who I am. Does that make sense? Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm coming from me. So whether you catch Sloan in a fitted, whether you catch Sloan in a suit, you catch Sloan anywhere, he gonna be me. And that's why I can go back to my old neighborhoods and I'm still respected, right? I can go to a boardroom and I'm still respected, because it's a purity of spending a lot of time by yourself. When we hit that silent and listen, I want to take that a little further for the brothers. Listen to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Listen to how you really feel. You know what I'm saying? With these emotions, your mentality, the bad programming, right? Why, journal. I'm gonna give you brothers a tip, right? Journal how you feel when you're going through situations. And this is why authors are like, get healing from writing. Dr. Benny, would you agree with that? This is why, like, when you write,
Absolutely.
you begin to dump out. Like, so when I wrote my first book, I was dumping out, right? When I started writing my second book, right, The Relationshipreneur, I was dumping out because of going through different relationships, trying to understand myself. I started journaling how I felt. Get one with self, man, and listen to yourself, fellas, man. I think we got to teach that to our young boys, man. Teach them.
Yes,
It's not always
definitely.
about how much you speak, but how well do you listen? And I think it'll take them a long way.
Right. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, King.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking on, the being silent, right? Spending time in silence. I always like to look at principles, right? And there's a principle of the seed, right? There's a seed principle in the seed that we can learn from, right? And the seed, right? And just to go further, before I say that, I want to say that it's the fruits, right? We are known by what? Our fruits.
That's right.
And that's the importance of that is the knowing of what the principle of the seed is, right? The seed has to go in the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it goes in the ground, it spends time in the darkness alone, right?
That's good.
Spends time down there. And so what happens with the seed when it's down there? Roots start to grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So roots start to grow. So we have to be that's our time alone, is where we're getting we're strengthening our roots. Because if our roots are strong, when we come out of that ground into public, right? When we come out of that ground into public, the fruits will show, right? The fruits will show what you spent, how you spent, in what you spent the time in alone in silence, how that went, right? People, so we want to be ego driven, right? So like you said, I love what you said, Sloan. People like to be around people all the time, right? You like to be, and those are ego driven people. Like, you want to be known, like you walk in, you go, oh, that's that guy, that's that guy, that's that guy. But it's the people, right? It's those that spend time alone, right? That come out in public would be the most effective person. Why? Because we spend time listening. We spend time alone. We spend time in studying. We spend time because you don't study when there's too much noise. You cannot study.
You can't study.
You're hearing so many voices, right? You're hearing this person saying one thing, you're hearing this person saying one thing, but you're not listening to your own thoughts, right? Your own thoughts, right? So
you know that, yeah, you know that you know all of us have the cacophony of voices, right? You know, the cacophony of voices coming
Cacophony?
from your
Spell it.
parents, your aunties, your uncles.
Did you say chocolate coffee? The cacophony, the chocolate coffee, like Benjamin, man, you be killing me with these words. That's when you get a doctor on, he gonna take you somewhere else, man.
Hey, man, you know, so we end up with the sea of mental garbage, right?
Okay.
Now we all,
I can get that. I can get that. All right, the sea of mental garbage. Oh, I can relate to that. That one was on my level. I appreciate you, Doc. I appreciate you. All right,
hey, you're rubbing me, man. But that's all right. That's cool. I'll take the rubbing. But you know, so we're all swimming in the sea of mental garbage, you know, and without practicing silent meditation, you really can't extricate yourself from it, because you know we're literally living it, you know, because of what's going on around us subconsciously, you know, subconsciously and consciously, an environment that we are living, because we share this environment together, you know, and we're kind of rubbing on one another and influencing one another in different ways. And it's only when you practice silence for a period of time that you kind of rise up above the sea of mental garbage. And that's when you can start to hear that inspiration that comes to give us the guidance to take our lives to another level and to do something that the world has never seen before, and done, you know, something really creative that comes from the true nature of our being. So as more of us start to realize that we have to do the practice first, you know, to be able to have fruits, you know, to go into that darkness, because everything begins in darkness, you know, everything came from darkness. You know, so yes, King, you're right. You're absolutely right. You know, everything that was ever born, you know, we all are fashioned inside a womb, right? It's pretty dark in there, right?
Hey, listen, we just had some amazing guests just hop on here, man. I had a brother in the back room when we was talking about this, Mr. Terrell, man. Listen, one of the most dynamic crypto educators I've seen in my entire life. And he just happened to be an extreme effects educator. So, you know, I love him a little more. You know what I'm saying? One of my, you know, and I got all my extreme brothers on here, you know. And so welcome to the call, Dr. Terrell. Welcome to the call, sir.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Man, I was looking forward to you hopping in here, man. I was like, where my brother at, man? I done hit him a couple and said, man, where bro at? Come on, man. Let's get in the locker room, baby. Talk to me, man.
Man, that time difference got me today, man. I apologize.
Nah, it's all good. But listen, you right on time. We just talk about silence for a second, bro. And you know, I heard something the other day, and I want y'all to think about this. It says, you know, when you look at pictures, right? Pictures develop in the dark. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the negatives,
you
ever thought of like negative develop in the dark? They always say if you bring the negative out too soon, you'll destroy the picture. And think about that. So some people want to get like to the picture. Y'all want to be seen. Y'all want to be flashed. You need the ego. You need the intent. But if you get some of that too soon, it'll destroy you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like that butterfly moment.
You know what I'm saying? You need to take, again, that's that cocoon phase, right? Where you're just sitting in there and you just getting cultivated, right? And I might going through a phase like that in my life right now. Like, well, I'm cool in my molding, right? I know how to get silent, get quiet, get in the tuck in and get developed, because typically what happens of it is when you in those seed phases, like King Nelson called it, right? You know what I'm saying? When you was going through the cocoon phase, or we in the dark with these pictures trying to get developed, right? It's in that phase, bro. You get your best product. Like you become your best self in those spaces because you're not influenced by everything. And so when you get developed, you got something beautiful. So I would tell any brother that's on this call right now that's listening, or even for some of the sisters in the audience, and we're going to grab a couple questions out the audience here in a second, you know, but I would tell anybody on this call, I feel like that's something that you could take away from this call, whether you're a male or you're a female, no matter how old you are. Don't get bored in the dark. don't get bored in the development phase, because if you really master that phase of working on yourself, and they say do the work, right? And I hear women say that all the time. Fellas say, yo, I did the work. I did the work. I can honestly say, man, we don't really do the work. You know what I'm saying? We just want the picture. We want the result. We want the fruit, but we don't spend enough time. And I'm a dude. Y'all know I'm 100% man. So I'm going to be honest, right? We don't do enough self-work, right, to really get to the place to be what I feel God can get out of us until we learn how to get in solitude. When we go into those places where you're comfortable being by yourself, when you're comfortable getting focused and locked in, you can start writing and journaling, because you realize, like, our brains, like, we're architects of future. Like, what we see in our mind and what we feel in our spirit is what we architecturally write down, and that's what we manifest in the future. So we can't predict the future based upon how we feel and what we manifest. You understand what I'm saying? Once you get to thinking and feeling, you're creating the future based on how you journaling it, and then the execution in you in that dark phase is what produced the fruit. So you got an architectural mind and the spirit. You have the ability to create what you want your future to look like, but you got to take time to write it out, fellas. Take some time. Like, it's cool to be on every scene, but you can't be on every scene all the time and really get the most that you're supposed to get out of your life. Would y'all agree with that? That we all got to go through a phase where you really got to get down to business. You got to lock in. You got to write down what you want out of your life, and then you got to go do the work. Would y'all agree with that?
I agree with it.
Absolutely.
I agree with it.
Yeah. You got to do the work on yourself. When I look at just my journey thus far, because it's always, the journey never ends. And the journey thus far, we always tend to feel like you should be ahead of where you are. There's this tendency to feel like, man, why haven't I done this yet? And the reality is that if we were developed enough to have that particular goal accomplished, we would have had the goal accomplished. The reason the goal is not accomplished is because we have more work to do on ourselves. And, in accepting that, then it I believe it brings a little level of patience that, okay, let me not get ahead of myself, because a lot of times we're running at a pace that's ahead of life. And sometimes you have to slow down to catch up with life's pace, because life is going to do what life is going to do. And no matter how much manipulation and twisting and turning that we would think we could do, ultimately, when life is ready for a particular manifestation to happen, that's when it happens. And sometimes we try to get that done before that time comes. And sometimes, we pay a price for manipulating things into being that really shouldn't be there. And it comes down to that cocoon and butterfly that's being spoken about, that Terrell brought to the conversation. So thank you so much for that. I just thought I'd just throw that thought in the middle of things. But yeah, man, we need to work on ourselves. We need to get down at James Brown.
So Terrell, I want to drop. I want to hear from you, bro. When we had our warm-up call, Terrell was like really coming from a good place, right? And like, we had some of y'all missed our preliminary call too. We got to do better, fellas. Like, when we say we got to have a call, let's have a call. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to do better with punctuation, right? That's just what we got to do. Like, I got to call a spade a spade. So Terrell hopped on, right? And he came from a good, pure space, right? And brother got a lot of passion about this topic. And so, Terrell, we was talking about, like, what has, like, the pressure of society done to us men, right? How did that feel? How does it affect our mental health, right? I want to go back to that for a second, because I know you had a lot to give on that. And why do you feel like, most of us as men, we deal with the issues of how does it take for the pressure of us being that man and that strong and so forth, by how we process it and the output that we get, and then even so forth. And I want you to go this way with it, because we talked about this too. You made a great point. What's the issue with that of how we receive by women? You know what I'm saying? Of how did that affect us to the connection of our women based on society and history between where we are now and kind of what history has said that kind of created some of that pressure, if you will.
Right. So I want to go back to one thing that you talked about when you say, how the women say I do the work, and being in that dark space, because I think that's very important. And for men, this might not sound like something you want to hear, but when the reason why women do the work is because that's the feminine side. That's the creative. You know what I'm saying? And men we have a feminine side and we have a masculine side, but for the most part, we focus more on our masculine, on our, I guess we call it the right brain, right? We focus more on that side and we don't get to the creative side. So there is no balance. We either one way and that's all it is. But when you're in that space where you need that softer, you need that a long time, you need that openness of your emotions and everything, you need to have that time. And most men don't know how to tap into that. Like, because we, like you talked about, I heard you talking about your old man. Same thing with mine. Like, you know, I don't fit nobody, but you know, my old man used to be tough. Like, nah, we ain't doing none of that. We don't do that around here. So it's just a point of being able to tap into that and really getting that balance. But then when you talk about society, you know, a lot of things that we do, especially the way we deal with our women, is generational. You know what I'm saying? And I'll take it back because it's some ethnic men on this panel, and we have to understand what we went through on this planet, on this continent, and how if a man had a wife and that wife can be taken and done with however another man chose, and then have to come back and lay with you, you know, two things happen in that situation. That woman now feels like my man can't protect me. You know what I mean? There's nothing that my man can do to protect me. And then that man is now demoralized. So a man would leave his family to go find some other place of mindset or whatever, or some kind of freedom. So I think we see that so much now in our society where, you know, dudes, we don't know how to stick it out and stay. You know, we don't know how to figure it out and be that man that we need for our woman, because we have generationally, hey, it's time. When we gotta leave, and that's just what it is. You know, and our women have been conditioned to do it without us. And that's really the sad thing about it, man, because you know, that's why you see this thing, I'm a strong woman and I don't need no man, and that's why you see that, because our women have been forced into the forefront to bear the burden of what we supposed to be doing as men. So, you know, it's a lot of reconditioning that we got to do. And I think it's, again, just getting that balance and understanding that, hey, man, you got to tap into that softer side of yourself.
Man, that's key. Man, turn your mic to the side a little bit, man. That trail is covering your face. I want to see your whole face. Go to the other side. Right there. Go right there. No, go back. You turn right. No, go back where you was at. Come back in the middle. Go back to the middle. All right, and just turn your computer. You stay there. Bang, right there, my man. I want to hear everything coming out of your mouth right now. I ain't want to interrupt you talking. I know Dr. Benjamin was thinking the same thing, because he told me my banner was over my head too, but I want to get that out. But bro, man, I appreciate you sharing that, you know, because we talked about a lot about that, you know, of how we was, you know, in that situation. Understand, like, you ain't soft, man, if you just know how to express yourself. You know what I'm saying? You ain't soft, bro. It could become a long-term relationship issue in personal, in business, in any type of manner if you don't know how to express yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like me as a man, my biggest attribute that I want to give my boys, you know what I'm saying? I got 2 boys, and what I want to give them is the ability to communicate emotions in life and just express. You know, it's an art to communication, but we have to teach them how to handle their emotions, right? You know, being the hothead, that's just mean you don't know how to control your emotions. And I've been there. You know, I got a hot temper. I had to work on that. I had to pray out of that. My dad didn't try to beat it out of me. You know what I'm saying? I just had to get some personal development, because I do feel like Nelson was saying earlier, the product of your environment is going to conduct your behavior. So person developed changed my mind. I didn't have to fly to another country. I picked up books and I read it. Then I got around mentors and men and other leaders that I saw how they carried themselves, and it taught me that I was actually out of line. I just didn't know how to conduct myself or communicate, you know what I'm saying, what I was feeling. So it wasn't wrong of having the feeling. The issue was not knowing how to communicate the feeling. You know what I'm saying? That was causing the issue. So having in that balance is key. When we was talking about, like, historically, like the issue between even man and woman in today, a lot of issue of it is obviously women are leading households, man. Women are leading from the forefront. You know what I'm saying? And if you go back in history of how, you know, they used to take the slave male away from the household, right, just to be able to strip them down. And then when you got into government of today's society, then, you know, when you talked about government assistance, you know, they would take the man out of the household to be able to subsidize the woman and the children financially. And it made it seem as if that the man value was only the money that he could bring to the household. And so they wouldn't even allow the man to be at the house. The woman could lose her Section 8 or she could use her government assistance if she even allowed the man name to be on the lease. Now, think about this for a second. Now, this is how society has groomed us as a culture of people, that they will allow us to break apart the family, to take the man away and put in a woman's mind that his value is only money, because they're going to subsidize the money. So that means she don't need no man. Right. Now follow me for a second. So now we're looking at, okay, the man's value to the household is only being a provider. Now, if you would ask any woman that's raising a child, a girl or a boy in the household, they can echo it to say that a man's value, his presence, is bigger than his finance. You know what I'm saying? If he's a man that got morals and direction, his presence is just as important as his ability to produce. You can ask any woman, she could be strong, independent, got it going on, but late night, them sheets getting a little cold, sis. You know what I'm saying? Late night, you want that protection. I don't care how many Instagram posts y'all put out there and Facebook posts, you a strong, independent black queen. I don't care what y'all say. Them sheets still cold. And if an acorn fall on the house at night, you're gonna shake up. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a couple emotions that's gonna trigger. That male presence is needed. But in society, we have been put in a place that it's been comfortable to not be together. You know what I'm saying? And I can even say, for me, in all transparency, like, I seen my pops go through relationships and my mother go through relationships. And I was really like wondering, like, how it was only seemed like a few people in my family who actually stayed together, and I could see the difference in their children. I'm gonna keep it all the way a band. I could see the difference in how their children, who was raised in that mother and father household for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. One of my cousins, Vonnie, them up in Maryland, they father stayed in their life, their whole life, from little girls to the time he passed. And, God bless Uncle Butch, he moved on. But he raised three beautiful daughters. They all got married, had children, were stabilized, and they all know how to respect the man. They know how to talk to him, treat him, because they learned from who? Their father. You see what I'm saying? And then invite
the signal.
Is it my connection, or is it?
I think he broke up a little bit.
Yeah, he's frozen.
It's for okay, so it's not okay. So as he comes back to the conversation, okay, you froze on us there. You did.
They didn't want me to get that out. Boy, I didn't want to get that out. It was
devil
cooking.
Is a lie.
It was cooking, bro. I was in here chefing up one, But I don't know where it cut off. But the dynamic of the household has been definitely hurt by not understanding the value of the man. You know what I'm saying? It's been hurt. And I feel like, going back to mental and emotion, I feel like a lot of men fight with that now. You know what I'm saying? That they looked at only for what money do they bring to the household. They're not looked at for wisdom or, guidance, because our culture has really done a good job of that being known and accepted, of the balance of man, woman, and then the woman know how to respect the man, and the man even knowing, and this is even go a little further, learning how to receive the love. You know what I'm saying? Man. You know what I'm saying? Learning how to receive the love and respect. Sometimes we struggle with that. Like, we struggle with being able to just, I love the fact that you love me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate that without it feeling weird or like guarded. Like, man, what's her angle with this though? Like, for real? Like, why is she really, loving on me like that? Like, what's she want out of me? You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been such in a situation because that culture has hurt us in so many different ways that as men, we came into a space that we struggle with accepting the love that's being given to us, because we've been used to being apart for such a long, and that's an issue, bro. Like, there's so many issues I've seen how historically it's caused this separation, where a lot of men are not respected. A lot of women have got disrespectful. Women take on masculine roles. Now men them became simps. You know what I'm saying? They just tucking their tail and rolling along. And it has to be some more dialogues like this, that we got to address these real issues. Because at least, I don't care what the household is now, we could at least put some solutions out here in the airwaves of how we can, wherever you are, single family household, man, whatever it is, let's just talk about how we got here. And as Dr. Benjamin also always say, let's talk about solutions of how we can work on our mindset to fix the problem, man. So y'all can dive in on that. But I wanted to bring that one. And that one was bothering me, man. I had to get that one out, Doc.
So as you talk about solutions, and just to jump in here, There's this, probably you've heard about this gentleman, Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yeah.
He transitioned not too long ago. Really did some really great work, great books. And at one time he was gonna talk. His mentor is Dr. Deepak Chopra. Some of you may have heard of Deepak Chopra, pretty popular, well-known author. Does a lot of work in the space of wellness and health. And so Dr. Dyer was speaking that, he was having this problem. And every time he has different types of problems, different types. So he has like problem A, problem B, problem C, problem D. He goes to Deepak, who is his mentor. And Deepak always has one answer for him. One answer. Meditate. so he goes to Deepak and said, well, this is not the problem. That the last problem is this problem is different from the last problem. Deepak said, meditate. And it comes back to the whole idea of, tapping into that silence, because the truth is that nothing is hard to appreciate us at a human level, that nothing is wrong with us in terms of the truth of ourselves. There's nothing to be fixed. It's just something that's pure and whole and complete that needs to be revealed. So a man that's having a problem, if he comes in touch with the truth of his being, that truth starts to infuse the areas in his life that are out of alignment and brings them into alignment. Better behavior, better speech, better connection, with his children or with his spouse, or, whatever it is that individual is going through. If that individual takes the time to practice silent meditation and get that connection, that inner voice listening and quieting the human noisiness that happens in the human aspect of our mind, and we're able to start to kind of push that to the side and be able to really get in touch with the silent part of our being. That's really the sweet part of our being. That infuses itself into every area. It doesn't matter what area it is. So it doesn't matter what problem that individual is experiencing. We really have one, because we have one problem originally, which needs only one solution. And that one problem is that we're disconnected from the truth of ourselves, and we have this accidental self that we've identified with that came through the world's way of looking at life. And once that one problem is corrected, then all the other things gradually start to fix. It is not a sudden one, it's not all of a sudden, okay, I'm aware, and then boom, everything is solved. No, because life on this planet, I promise you this, we live in a series of problems. So life. So when we accept that life is a series of problems, then we will be okay, because we're not expecting not to have problems. Because that's one of the worst things you could ever believe, that you're gonna have a day when you have no problems. We'll always have a series of issues that are going on, and that's just how life is on the planet. It's a beautiful school. So thank you very much, man. Let me step out of the way and leave the floor.
That'll be good. So listen, we don't come up on our hour, Jim, and y'all feel like this was helpful? Y'all think this was good? This is good for y'all?
Absolutely.
Yeah, listen. So
Absolutely.
Listen, we're gonna wrap up this first call with this, man. I want you guys to let's reflect for a second on this call, right? And let's give if you will be a last remark. So before I say that, next week we're gonna run this back. YouTube, share, subscribe, go to Dynamite Zone, subscribe, right? So you guys can put your follow up there. Go to Facebook, share the page, right? We just want to get the message out there. This whole panel came for me, it felt in my spirit, man, and I just obeyed it. You know what I'm saying? That's just it. I can't make it up fancy. I want to do that. Nah, I just had something fell in my spirit, and I heard it, and I moved on, and now we here, right? Because I felt the need of it when I was looking around on social media, and that's how I started last week or so. I started posting because I got bothered, you know what I'm saying? Seeing so many men my age, I'm almost 40, you know what I'm saying? And I see men my age looking like doing stuff that my kids be doing. I seen the disconnect of identity of man. You know what I'm saying? I seen the disconnect of identity. I'm like, my kids follow me on social media. You know what I'm saying? They friends follow me on social media. I'm Mr. Sloan to them. I'm daddy. I'm pops. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm Tootie's son. I'm Lala's grandson. You know what I'm saying? And so I got to make sure my way of how I present myself is at a certain space, because I just don't represent myself. I represent a lot of people. But I seen a lot of men just doing stuff and just saying stuff that I didn't identify with, that I wouldn't want my children to see. And it made me think about like how I was with the OGs that I grew up with. It was always a separation between men and boys. It was always a clear distinction between men and boys. You'll walk around and say, boy, it's grown man talk. Boy, get out of here.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even let you sit in certain conversations. But now I just see so many different things around our youth, man, and it just started to really bother me. And I said, well, let's pray. Hey, tag some brothers that dress nice, brothers that sharp. And Tara got tagged, Benjamin got tagged, but they start tagging some brothers. Now look at these images. Now these are some brothers who know what some Stetsons are, who got some, some hat boxes, who understand Dobbs, who understand Stacey Adams and how to get a tailor-made suit, and I made the post like, listen, how you dress is how you will be addressed. You know what I'm saying? And I got some kickback on that, right? But we had a lot of good dialogue and everybody talked about it, because it's not just talking about just physical dress and that means you're better than anybody, but it is the standard that when you come out into society, how you present yourself is how people going to deal with you. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if we keep that on a surface level of understanding, and if that's not true, then why do we dress up when we go to job interviews? Why don't we just go in sweatpants, or why we just don't go in what we go by the bed into? Like,
right.
If it don't matter, why don't you just go to your job interview in your flip-flops? So with your night clothes, you know what I'm saying? Because how you dress is how you will be addressed. You know what I'm saying? When you about to go out, you going to church. Why don't you just don't? I'm just gonna go there and some swing trucks and the ladies coming in bathing suit. Like, no, that ain't distasteful. How you dress, that's how you would be addressed. If you go to the nightclub, why y'all go spend $2,000 on an outfit? If that ain't the case, why y'all spend all this money on these extensions? You know what I'm saying? And you want to get this weave done and you get these nails done, because how you dress is how you will be addressed. So I want to keep that there. I saw that, and I wanted us to start getting addressed differently by raising our standard, our vibration of our conversation, to understand who we are, who we represent, and making sure we put better examples out here. Because if it's not starting to be a clear distinction between boys and men, then you're going to have a lot of men acting like boys.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And then who gonna raise the boys? You know what I'm saying? And who gonna give the boys the standard of how to be men, of how to dress themselves, how to understand man love, how to go through life and deal with emotional breakdowns and get through it, how to understand how to pray, meditate, how to be silent, you know what I mean? How to lead their family. How they gonna learn if ain't no men doing it they damn self? Like somebody gotta do it in order to teach. And we got to be willing, guys, to be able to step up and be in a position to really take that charge. And that bothered me. Honest to God, y'all, that bothered me. And that made me create this gentleman only talk, because I just wanted to know if there was still some brothers out here that believed in honor and believed in, like, we got to work on ourselves to become better. And we ain't got to have it all right, because I can promise to God, I ain't got it all right, but I'm working on what ain't. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on my mind. So the enemy are trying to tell you, you can't try to heal nobody because you ain't all the way healed yourself. That's trickery. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying a doctor can't write prescription for medicine. You know what I'm saying? Like he can get a cold too, right? But he still know the antidote, right? He know what can help you. And so I had to overcome that of, like, the enemy trying to trick me and say, well, Sloan, you working on stuff. Why are you going to be talking about it? Because I'm working on it, which means I got some answers that I can help my brothers who need to work on it and know they ain't the only one who need to work on it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And so we started this panel to have a discussion to make it a good, safe space for brothers to talk. And I wanted the sisters to listen in, right, so they can, hear the healing. But I wanted the sisters to listen in too. I want to say this before we close out, because I wanted the sisters to be in a space that you can understand. Just because we don't always say what's bothering us, it's some stuff that could be bothering your man. It could be stuff that could be bothering your husband, your son, right? I wanted y'all to learn the dynamic of what men to go through, because to be honest with you, to keep it all the way a band, we got a total different pressure against us as men that y'all don't have as women. Y'all just don't have, especially if you're a man of ethnicity in this country. You got a whole nother lineup. You almost target practice just because of the way your skin color of how you born. From the time you come out, you got the odds stacked against you, and that's the honest to God truth, y'all. We can't fight that. So we got to address the fact that it is there, and then still be mentally tough enough to be able to get through it. Because I would never send my sons to war untrained. Never. I would never send my boys to a battle tricking them to believe it ain't an enemy out there. Now I'm misleading them, and I'm trying to paint a mental illusion in their mind, and they gonna lose by default because I ain't trained. Right. So I wanted us to be real enough to really talk about the issues, what we see, how we can handle it, our experiences. We can heal. We can help heal some other brothers and to put that movement out there, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're gonna work on yourself and your internal, then obviously you're gonna work on your business. You know what I mean? You're gonna have Brady Clay to be a leader. You're gonna have more discipline in all areas of your life. And this is why this started, to just to be in a position that we can really be honest and open up, and the sisters can hear and know, because I want y'all to be better queens at home too. I want y'all to be better moms. I want y'all to be better daughters, because we need the help of these women. Would y'all agree? We need them.
Yeah.
Y'all get on our last nerve, but we love y'all to death. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have our sisters because we want balance. And so
No woman, no us.
no, we came from the fruit, right? So we gotta have that. So we would have wrap up this call, man. Great call, gentlemen. What would be you guys' closing remarks of the impact that you hope a call like this would do for the nation, for the healing of our brothers, man? So we're gonna just go in a circle. We're gonna go with Dr. B, and we're gonna come down to Terrell, end with King Nelson. And so, Dr. B, what would you say the impact you would hope a call like this would do for brothers out there and our listening audience?
Yeah, thank you. Well, the impact that I'm seeking is that, we become better. So, healing happens from inside. So it's really, just hoping and declaring that people imbibe this information and turn within and connect with that pure, wonderful aspect of our being so that we can have a better world. And that's how I believe we'll have a better world. As more and more of us connect with the truth of ourselves, the pure, wonderful being that we all are, then, it will wash away all of the mess that we're experiencing.
That's beautiful. Dr. Benjamin said there's one problem is one solution. I wrote that down. We got one thing, not being connected to the purities of who we are, how we got here. If we get that, understand that one problem of understanding why you was created, what your purpose is, what you connected to. If you understand that one thing, that's your one solution. Dr. B, I'll be listening to you, Dr. B. Dr. B dropping some jewels on it. He's dropping some jewels, man. Dr. Benjamin, before you go, man, tell them about your book. I want to promote your book, man, so the people can find your book. Tell them how they can find in the name of your book, Dr. Benjamin.
Yeah, thank you very much. A Book of New Thoughts. It's on Amazon. A Book of New Thoughts. To search A Book of New Thoughts on Amazon.
A Book of New Thoughts. Thank you, man. Y'all give a shout out, some love to Dr. Benjamin. My man, we appreciate you jumping in. One of the hardest working men in show business, man. We appreciate you, Dr. Benjamin. All right, we're gonna come into the man. What would you say your impact for the folks from this call? What would you want us to do, bro? Like, how would you want us to touch the nation with this type of healing conversation?
Man, I think what Dr. Benjamin said, just knowledge of self is one thing, understanding like who we are, what we come from. Because I think a lot of what goes on, especially in our community, is we have no culture. We don't have anything to date back through. Like young men don't have rite of passage anymore. Like it's certain cultures that, when you turn 16, this is supposed to happen. When you turn 18, this is supposed to happen. And I think we need structure. I think more than anything, we need structure. And then being able to say, hey, man, I ain't perfect either. Just like you were saying, like I'm going through it now, but I can teach as I go, because as I teach, I'm also learning. And that's right. That's the best strategy you can have, is like, hey, I'm and people knowing that. See, because what has happened in our world definitely is that Instagram and everything highlights everybody highlight reel. That's what it is for everybody. Right. It's a highlight reel. But the truth of the matter is, people not posting when I'm feeling down, when I'm sad, when I ain't got what I need to do, or I'm not taking care of the house like I'm supposed to. So I just think, man, to create a safe place for people where we can come in here and really have real conversation, because that's what, like, the truth will set you free. That's the truth. That's a true thing, man. And just have it open where people feel comfortable enough to come in here, express themselves, and heal, man. That's the impact I hope we have, honestly.
Man, that's dope, bro. I really appreciate that, my brother. You know what I'm saying? People love showing them reels, don't they? The highlight film. They got life on highlight on Instagram. I mean, that's one of the worst things. And, I really I love the fact that social media was created because it allows a way to do business on another level. But I hate the fact of how it impacted our youth to think that was real life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was almost a masquerade. I feel like a lot of the ignorance, their innocence got stripped from them of thinking that they didn't equate to look like that, dress like that, move like that, then something was wrong with them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I really hope that from this call, like you were saying, man, we can focus on real life and real issues and really highlight that, man. So my brother Tara, we're going to get you back on next Wednesday so you can get on from the top of the call, bro, because I know you got a lot to dive into. But I appreciate you just taking an opportunity out of your schedule to come on, man, and just give us some essence of history how you see, how you see the male nature and the dynamics of the household, my brothers. I love you. I appreciate you.
Love
The
you,
best
brother.
crypto
Thank you.
education in the country. Boy, that's what I'm
Yes,
talking
sir.
about. My man, Tara, man.
Appreciate you,
Appreciate you,
brother.
brother.
Thank
We
you.
catch up next Wednesday. Blessings, brother.
Yes, sir.
And we going to end with the king, King Nelson. King Nelson, we gonna end with my brother. So, Dr. Nelson, man, talk to us for just a moment, man. What would you say you would want the impact of this call to be? As you get into, heard the message from top to bottom, you hear the concept. What would you want our listeners to walk away from an impact of a call like this?
Definitely, as our brothers here said before, is identity and purpose, right? Learning those about yourself. And also, I believe, that this, I want this call to kind of like, let the young men know out there that, it's kind of, it's okay to fail and talk about it.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
It's
real.
okay to fail and talk about it. A lot of people don't like to speak on those things, right? They don't like to speak on, what failure is and how it looks like in a man,
Mm,
right? And how we can grow
mm,
from that, right? So I believe, and
mm.
I would like for our audience in this live to understand that failure is part of life.
Yes,
It's a
sir.
part of life, and if we don't
That's
talk
correct.
about it, we won't be able to move forward from it, right? So, just and also, our young men and older men, right? To look for mentors, right? We
Mm,
gotta look for some men that that we want to shadow, right? To learn from, and also those that are listening that are seasoned enough to mentor, right? To try to take some men under your wing and mentor them, right? Because there's too many fatherless men out here, young men, too many
mm.
fatherless young men out here. So yeah, that's all. That's in my hopes that we can accomplish here.
Bro, you said something that just touched my whole heart, bro. You gotta talk about it's okay to fail. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? As we talk about like the pressure of men in society, that was kind of one of our opening talks and one of our open questions. Like the pressure that society has put on men is that you have to be perfect.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That you have to be perfect. And then if you fail, you ain't up to speed. You know what I'm saying? And that's not life. That's not real. You know what I'm saying? I've seen that how it go in relationships. I've seen it with dating. Even with me dating, I would see girls and I'm just like, oh man, it's just this whole perfect deal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the pressure of that, it's like it's okay to fail. It's okay to go through different things in life and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if we
Yeah.
get comfortable with men of understanding, it don't make you less of a man if you failed at
Come
something.
on, come on.
Bro, let me
Yes.
let me let me let me get y'all this before we get out of here. You're not less of a man if you fail.
Mm,
Bro, I need you to accept that.
yeah.
Like, honestly, I need you to internalize that energy, yo. That you're not less of a man because you didn't do something right, you dropped the ball, you mismanaged the situation, you overlooked something, you miscalculated something. Could have been an honest mistake, or you went at your best level of yourself when you was performing a certain level of actions in your life, and you failed. You might have lost some relationships, you might have lost some respect, you might have lost some money, might have put your family in a bad situation, and your heart and your mind is broken. Like you don't know how to accept that. It make you want to just cancel life, and you feel like I just want to get out of here. I need a do-over, but ain't no do-over, right? I've seen that. I've seen some of my best friends commit suicide because they couldn't deal with life. One of my best partners, like I've seen it real time, like not real time. I've seen it in my face, and I still deal with that image in my mind. But when I think about the brother just got to a point where he couldn't deal with life, he couldn't get no solutions to it, and he felt like a failure. The energy of that alone was
Mm,
enough for a man to take his own life. And I don't want no brothers taking their life. I don't want no brothers hurting their life. I don't want you just thinking about yourself so selfishly that you forget you got people loving you, man. You got people that's cheering for you. So you got to accept your failures as what they are. You messed up, something didn't go right, but that don't make you a failure because you failed.
yes.
You're not a failure because you failed at something.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Does
saying?
it
Like you
define you?
just it don't define you. It's every failure I've ever had in life, I feel like just made me better. You know what I'm saying? It just made me better as a man. But when I looked at every loss as a lesson and every stepping stool, but one thing I had to get good, and I still work on it to this day. Again, I'm still a work in progress. I had to get good at accepting what happened.
Yes.
I accepted it, man. I messed that
Mm-hmm.
one up. Like, dang. Yo, I done had an 800 credit score. I done had a 500 credit score and everything in between. I done had hundreds of $1,000s to save, and I've been so broke I couldn't pay attention. You know what I'm saying? I done seen both sides of the story, but I had to learn and accept it, and it made me a better man. You know what I'm saying? So when I talk to any brother, man, listen, man, you said something with that, bro, because I used to struggle with that, and that was just the competition spirit in me. I always want to be on top, always want to be winning, but it's okay to fail. It's okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and that's a great takeaway, bro. We gonna end with that one. I ain't got nothing to say. The king done said it. I ain't got nothing to say about it, man. He done gave us our closing word. Brothers, as we move forward, man, and you start working on yourself, accept the fact that you don't have to be perfect. And just because you
Mm-hmm.
fail, you're not a failure, right? Work on
Yes.
yourself, work on your time, spend that time with self, do personal development, read books, get mentors. I don't care how you grew up. I don't see, like Dr. Benya was talking about mentality and men and mental and totality. You know what I'm saying? All those things come together in mentality, right? All those words are in there. So I don't care what type of man you saw. If that's not the man that you want to be for yourself, then work on you, bro. All you got to do is work on yourself. You could change anything in your life if you just spend time with yourself. My father used to
Mm-hmm.
always say, whatever you spend time with, whatever you spend time with is what's going to develop. You're going to grow and you're going to love in the area. Spend time with yourself. Like if you is single, bro, it's cool. You don't need no girl right now, bro. That's cool. Work on you. Like
Mm-hmm.
be a better man for you. So when you present yourself to a woman, you present the best level of you. You know what I'm saying? If you
Come
are
on.
in a
Yeah.
relationship and you're going through some issues in that relationship, bro, spend some time with you, bro. It's cool. Spend some time, ask your woman some questions. There's some things that she don't like about you, or some area. Write them down, listen to her, right? And work on those, right? And then get out your head, man. It's just work, bro. Spend some time and let's grow, bro. We gonna grow and we gonna heal, bro. So as we heal others, we gonna heal ourselves. And that's what I want to walk away from this deal, that we are gonna be stronger, we gonna be better, right? We don't have to be perfect, bro, just to keep working on perfection. Life is an ongoing journey. So as we continue to go forward every Wednesday, same time, same channel, subscribe to the Dynamite Sloan channel, man. Listen, Boss Talk, this is one of my favorite segments of Boss Talk, man. It's gentlemen only. So you can go to Clubhouse, man. Y'all go on Clubhouse and jump in the room. What we're going to end up doing, we're going to take our recordings, we're going to extract them. So it'll go on Spotify, it'll be on Apple Music, right? And it'll be on Clubhouse. So we're going to extract the audios and you guys can listen to it. And man, share this, and we're gonna run some playbacks. If you missed this call, we're gonna run it back on Friday. You're gonna get a playback like back in the day and you missed one of your favorite shows. So we're gonna play this back on a repeat on Friday.
Rerun.
And some reruns. There you go. We got some reruns. We're gonna want a rerun on Friday. We're gonna want a rerun on Monday, right? To get you ready for our next call on Wednesday. Because we want to sow good seeds, man. We want to sow good seeds in the mind and the spirit so we can really grow fruit. So it's your boy Agent Dynamite, son, the living legend, man. Y'all know my saying. Somebody gotta pay the price up front and forward, no discount. And that person gotta be you, man. Peace and blessings, man. Go love on somebody, all right, man. Y'all spend some time with yourself and love on you. All right, peace.